What's up?
I know. Here we are. I know. It's weird to know that someone is listening and watching. So
yeah, it's kind of awkward, but it's okay.
So how do you feel about it now? How you feel? I mean, I haven't looked at what the reaction to the Ship song has been. I mean, we've just been doing stuff and all that, and I'm like, what's your feeling?
So I've got a lot of positive feedback from it. I've heard like lots and lots of people really like it, and I know that like with the Belly Union thing, there's been like they've kind of made like a cassette and a digital release that you can buy on their website.
Perfect. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Those seem like the things that we wanted to be like, we could put some of these things in place and then we'd know we got some cool stuff happening. I think I guess for me, I thought it was going to take a little bit longer. I imagine there's probably, 10,000 people that are going to say, I think this is the best thing ever. And then there's going to be, 10 people that say, oh, I hate this or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what it's been like. Like, I know that I went on YouTube the other day, like looking through like the comments and like the views on stuff on the Ship song video. And there was like bunches and bunches of nice comments. And there was only like 2 that were just like a little bit like, we don't like this, but I think the people that comment bad things, it's just like, why don't you just leave it? Just such a waste of time.
Well, and those stick with you. They do. It's like you can hear like 100 yays, this is great. And then the one boo is like, who was that?
Yeah, it's like, let's investigate. I need to check who this is.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's a good thing. I mean, I think you'd have to be a very egotistical, crazy person to not wonder what negative things are being said. So I think all that's good, and it does mess with you. It does stick in your mind, and you wish it didn't happen. But it's sort of like, who cares? Yeah.
I mean, they're just sitting behind their keyboard. I don't really mind what they think. It's not my problem. So. Well, it hasn't got to me that much.
And when I hear the song and I watch the video, I'm completely blown away. I'm like, oh yeah, this is you look like you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that it's amazing. Like it went out and like loads of people love it, and then it's sort of just like kind of gone from there. I mean, like I know that a lot of people are commenting, like they're like, "Can't wait for the whole album. I can't wait for the next."
Well, I know. See, I forget that it's not out there yet. And I just want to.
Yeah, because we could listen to it and we're like, we know it's amazing, and everyone's like, we want to hear it. We need to hear it.
Yeah. So, I suppose eventually we're gonna have to play some kind of a show together. But have you still been working with that with the group of guys up there? Are they from Fern, where you're from?
Yeah, so in Fernie there is a couple people. Like I think my dad told you about the band Shred Kelly.
Yeah.
So I haven't necessarily like played with them yet, but they were totally open to the idea and totally wanted to play like together so we could do a practice together so that I have like a band to sing with.
Yeah.
But like I haven't done like an actual practice with them. But other than that, I've actually been like learning the piano, because I remember when it came down there, Stephen was trying to show me it on the piano, but I can actually play it now.
You did good. I mean, for you not knowing what it was, I thought you did really great. And you did look hesitant but convincing on the video. So I felt like all that worked really good. And I could kind of tell you were going to be able to get it. So you feel like you're more accomplished now?
Yeah, no, I can actually play the full thing like pretty well now. So I think CBC was supposed to be here tomorrow, but there's like a bunch of mudslides in Vancouver. So no one can get out of Vancouver really. So they're just gonna like zoom in, I think. Yeah, no, there's mudslides all around from like all of the rainfall. Like we have floods in our basements here, but it's not like crazy mudslides, which is kind of bad. But so they were gonna come and film me like practicing and playing a couple of the songs and singing with like my first music teacher. So they were gonna come here, but they can't make it. So we have my dad's friend that filmed the first video actually, Alex.
You mean
so he's going to
the Girl in Amber video?
Yeah. So he's gonna film it, and they're gonna just like be on a Zoom or something, asking me like interviewing me and stuff. Sort of like, yeah, just like another interview. But like I've been practicing on piano. I can play the whole No More Shall We part through.
Oh, there you go. So where did you go? Where'd you find the chords and stuff?
So we have a friend staying with us at the moment that stayed with us like 4 years back, and she has a lot of music courses. Like she went to high school and stuff and did like a bunch of music courses, and she's like a vocal, like good at vocals and stuff. So she knows the piano very, very well. Perfect. So she actually taught me it, which was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that helps so much, to have
someone actually there.
It really is. There's something happens, really with your minds and curiosity and just physically seeing stuff. I mean, you're good enough that I'm sure you could pick it up from a video or even, just looking at the chords, but having someone there that is just really putting their hands on it and stuff, that really works great.
Yeah, and that helped out. So I learned that. And then
the timing on No More Shall We Part is just so bizarre, I mean,
we tried to put the metronome to it or something so that I could sing it better when we were down with you, but it was strange.
No, but I mean, you were so well rehearsed to that, the way that you performed it during the recording, that it just was amazing. There was only a few of the takes that you were slightly off on. So Blake and I put that together. It was really quite easy.
Yeah. Now, even like when I'm playing it on the piano, it makes it easier for me to sing it because I can like follow.
Well, that's it. Exactly. Yeah.
Like if you have an instrument that you're playing, it's easier than listening to someone else's.
Oh, totally.
So now it's like awesome. I got the whole thing down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the way. That's kind of the way the Flaming Lips works. It's like sort of like if I'm the one playing and singing, everybody has to follow me, even though I'm not, in time or anything. They're just going to follow me. But I think that it works really great on the recording. That it isn't it's not so stiff. I mean, the recording is so weird, but it's wonderful because it is just kind of, it's flowing around. But it's so difficult to do when you have to sort of mime that and mimic that for the video, but you did great. So I think really that muscle memory that you're starting to get about singing it, rehearsing it, being scared that it's not going to work. I mean, all that, it just works for you so well. There's so many times when I'm, even last night, we're singing a song and I'm thinking about something else. And suddenly I'm like, I've got to sing these words. I don't have any idea what I'm supposed to sing. And then as it comes up, you just sing. And I'm like, oh, well, there's the word.
Yeah, I can play it with my eyes closed now. I've been practicing it so much. I can just play it. And I just like, oh yeah, there's the verse.
Well, that's great.
I remember how it goes. So like now I've got it like down. Like I can do it pretty well now.
Because, I always felt like, the recording feels like you playing and singing yourself. And so even though, we know it wasn't, we know it was, we just constructed it to seem that way. I think as you go out and if you play that or are able to play it and sing it that way, that's just going to be really, really great. I mean, it's a great song. And when Nick, I think it's Nick Haven, the Bad Seeds. I don't know if it's just Nick or not, but when you do it, it really, that the part where the harmony vocals come in, how did you come up with that?
So my first music teacher, she's like she does vocals on a bunch of different stuff, like with her couple bands. So she can easily she can listen to like the main one, like the one that I sung, and then she can easily like harmonize on it. So she'll just go ahead and sing. She'll be like, okay, now you sing this part, and then we'll do like a lower one.
She was kind of instructing you or guiding you and say, here, let's try this line.
Yeah. So I kind of got stuck at one point because I couldn't really think because Nick obviously sings it so low with his voice. Yeah. So I was like trying to find like the right pitch that I could sing it in because I have like obviously a much higher voice than Nick Cave. So she came to our house like when we were recording and she was like, oh, maybe if you sing this part higher, it'll make it easier to like get the lower part. So like she would kind of like help figure it out. And then she was like, oh, this is easy to harmonize on. Let's make harmonies on it. So then
there you go.
That's kind of how it worked.
And like, I mean, for me, I can never, I mean, you know, I don't know what to sing when harmonizing. So I just make something up, you know, which is fun too, but it's like, it's so many great layers. Do you feel like it's something that you could figure out if she wasn't there? For me, like having Stephen and Derek figure out what the harmonies could be, it's just amazing. For me, I'm like,
yeah.
I never know.
Like I've kind of latched onto what she does. Like I can understand, like if someone's singing something, I can always do it like a tiny bit higher and like match it. So I'm like, I can still do that pretty well. And it sounds amazing.
Well, then let's say, you know, as we venture into more recordings with you and stuff, we'll just always be messing with that.
Yeah. And even like, I know on a lot of like your songs too, you're just like saying random things and singing random little things, but then you add them in and it makes it all full and it sounds so great. You could just be like, and it like goes on and it's like, yeah, that works. Like, try it.
Yeah, you do. You just have to say, I'm having fun. I'm going to do it. And it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't work, well, we'll just try it again. Yeah. You know, but yeah, you hear all that stuff in our music. And, you know, there's even some of the tracks, of course, the audience hasn't heard yet, but, I think the Red Right Hand has a lot of funny stuff in it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where Michael's like, ooh, ah, ooh, all these things. And I remember I was sitting there, I was like, I don't know, let's just, you know, you gotta sing something. And yeah, it's fun how all that works, and hearing other people laughing and people, you know, in the background and all that. I think all that stuff works for music. I mean, people will forget. I mean, like, you know, I grew up obviously, you know, listening to a lot of the Beatles, you know, and the Beatles have so many of those things happening in their songs where people are talking in the background and laughing and singing and all that. So yeah, all that helps. But those harmonies on that are just so amazing. You know, they break in and it's like, is it 3 of you? Is it 2 of you or 4 of you? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no. So on the recording, there's just 2 of us. So there's me and I sung, like I layered over a couple different parts, and then my singing teacher Rachel, she would sing a couple parts, like showing me how to play it, but we were to record it anyways, and it sounded amazing, so we just added it on. So there's 2 of us.
Oh, I see. I got you. Yeah.
But we just like, we went back over it and like layered it and just like sung different parts on it.
Yeah. So do you feel like you are starting to learn some of the hows and whys and fun things you can do in recording?
Yeah. So when we were recording, I kind of saw how my dad did it. And then sometimes I wouldn't like it. Like, I don't know, it was sort of embarrassing when he was listening to me try and sing it for the first time. So totally. I'd be like, okay, show me how to press record, and I'll leave.
Oh, totally. No, I'm same way. I just like, oh, what can you do? Yeah. I mean,
especially if it's the first time you're saying it, it's just like,
Yeah, I mean, but that's part of the charm of it, you know, is that, you know, you're just kind of screaming into the void and hoping that you don't sound too horrible. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But I think that's what we want to hear. You know, we want to hear that you're not so confident. We want to hear that you are trying and you're listening to yourself. Listening to yourself is the worst part of it. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. You know, but I think that's what makes it so wonderful, is we all know that feeling of kind of being, I don't know what I'm going to say, I don't know how I'm going to sound, and I'm kind of embarrassed, but that I think all that shows up in it, which is what's so wonderful about it. You know, I'm trying to remember how we got together. You know, it's like, I feel like I've known you like forever now, but it's really only been, has it been 3 years, 2 years?
I feel like it seems like 3-4 years, maybe. I don't know. But I know that I kind of remember like how like we met, sort of.
Where were we playing when was the first show? Was that the show where you were dressed up in the red? Is it a duck?
It's like a parrot thing.
A parrot, yeah, exactly, yeah.
No,
yeah.
So I think I had been to a couple shows in that costume. And then you were playing in Calgary, which is like 2.5 hours away from us. Like at the college or something, or the university. So we went to watch that show, and I saw Stephen running on the stage onto stage from the side, And then you came out, and I like waved you, and you came over because like I think there was there was an opening band on for you guys at that moment.
Yeah.
And
It was
you came over.
Yeah.
And you had recognized, because I had worn that red costume at like a couple other shows, and you had recognized, and you were like, I think I know you.
Yeah.
I see you at shows. So then we started talking, and I think that time I had wrote a letter that I was like going to give to you, and we had tried to get it onto your tour bus. So I think we had given it to someone, and someone got it on the tour bus, and you were like, oh, well, let me go check. Here's my number, and I'll message you if we got it. So then,
oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens. So then you messaged us after the show, and you were like, oh, we got the letter and stuff. and then, we messaged back. We're like saying like, it was awesome show. Thank you and everything. And you were like, yeah, for sure. And then like message me whenever if like you're doing music stuff, because I was like learning to play guitar, and we were talking about that.
I think we just started to be like, oh yeah, well, send me stuff that you're doing. And you know, like for me personally, I would have not known that this was going to go anywhere. I would just be like, well, what's your music? Send it to me. And then we really just started to be like, well, you know, and you're still writing songs now, you know, I think that's the part of this Nick Cave cover thing that, you know, that sort of got put into overdrive once you started to do it. We're kind of like, well, let's just do more of these, you know?
I do remember like the first couple of times we messaged you after the show. You told us, because I was like learning guitar and you liked my voice or whatever. So you're like, oh, you should learn like a couple Flaming Lips songs. I think it was like 5 or something. So I learned a bunch of Flaming Lips songs. Like I think the first song I ever learned on guitar was Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots.
Oh yeah.
So I remember, I think we definitely we sent you a couple of clips of me playing guitar.
Yeah.
Like a couple years ago, I guess it was. And then so you gave me the task to learn a couple of Flaming Lips sones. So then I did that.
Not really. I mean, it wasn't really. Would be interested to be like, oh, what does she sound like, and how was? Is this something that she likes or whatever? And really, you know, it's people don't realize that it's this great luck that you're in. You call it Fernie? Is that Fernie?
Yeah, Fernie.
Yeah. You know, you're up there and we're in Oklahoma, but you know, you're recording and you're sending it to me, you know, so we
can still make a huge track out of it. Like you guys can take it onto your computer.
Yeah.
Record on it. And then it gets out like this.
That's the way of the world now. You know, I still think there's probably people that think, you know, you've got to be in the same room and be doing stuff. And it's sort of like, well, no, it's almost easier that you just go and, you know, work on it on your own, then send it to me. And I work it on my own, because then you're really a lot less just self-conscious about it. You know, you're kind of just listening and messing with it. And if the person is sitting right there next to you, you know, sometimes it is difficult to say, I don't like this, or let's change this. And, you know, and so I think it's so great, because then I think that's definitely like the coolest thing about the album is that we were in completely different parts of the world recording it, and it still came together as like a whole album. Like we never went into your studio with you and me at the same time and recorded a song. Never. No. Nothing. But, I mean, but that's more and more normal now all the time. I mean, you know, and even Dave Fridman, you know, I've worked with Dave Fridman since since 1988. So long time. So, you know, we sent this to him in his studio. So it's you singing in your padded closet, and then us working on it in Oklahoma City in our studio. And then in the end, sending it to Dave Fridman up in New York in his studio.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, we do communicate with each other a lot. You know, you and I and you and your dad and I, and even Dave Fridman and I, really more than we probably would if we just thought we had to see each other in person. And none of us sat there together doing it, but I think that makes it work better, because then you really are getting like someone very. You
can be honest without having to be like, so.
That's
I don't really like that. I think it was awesome.
Being diplomatic is a great quality, you know. But music doesn't always improve because by being diplomatic. Sometimes it's like, no, let's do this, let's do that. And having someone listen to it, it's just a big responsibility, because a lot of times people are going to listen to it and just go, oh, it's great. Oh, it's great. I don't want to tell you anything. It's just going to, they're just going to tell you it's great. And so, yeah, being able to be around, to be in an environment where you can really say, this is good, but let's make this shorter and let's change this or whatever.
I feel like you can make something and work on it with like one person and you both think it's great, but being able to hear that it's good from someone else makes it easier to like it keeps the momentum up so you can keep going, just knowing what someone else enjoys it too.
Yeah, that word momentum, that's a good word to use, because you really can get bogged down in being like, is this any good? And am I any good? And do I even like this? I mean, it all becomes such a weird thing in your mind, but when you feel like it's going good, and any little bit of encouragement and any little bit of excitement that you get from the other entity, it helps you, all that helps you. That's why I tell people, it's like, you can't hold back. I remember the first time I still know the guys in Coldplay, but I knew them way back when they put out their first single, Yellow. Do you know that song Yellow by
I was
Coldplay? Actually
singing that the other night. I love Coldplay. I had no idea.
It's a great song. But the first time they played it for me, they were like, well, Wayne, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know. I think it's kind of boring. And I was like, they're like, we think it's going to be our first single. And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work, And then, they played it for me again. Maybe it was already out. Maybe I wasn't aware if it was already out or not. They played it for me again. And I was like, oh man, this is a great song. I love this song. And then not really knowing that it was the same song that I didn't like, a month earlier or whatever. And I don't know it, because really when I heard it the second time, I was like, oh, I love this song. I think this is really going to work. And I think they're like, you're so weird. You're so crazy. You don't realize that you didn't like it a month ago. But that's how you have to be, And I would be the first one to say, maybe the track was slightly different the first time I heard it, or maybe I was just wrong, or maybe I was just in a different headspace, or mind, my mind was different or whatever. So yeah, you really have to be open and listen to things, but you also have to be honest with yourself, which is, that's the hardest part, But I think with your voice and your personality, you really are a great vehicle of your own design there. It's like you really do represent your music, that's the hardest thing for people to do. It's like everybody can do music, everybody can kind of sing and stuff, but this idea that it really is you, it really is you, it really does have your personality and stuff in it. That's why I'm so drawn to it. I mean, and knowing you and knowing your dad and knowing your, just the way you are, and having that be in the music itself, I think it's just a great, powerful thing. Even your the photo that's now the cover that we're seeing on. It's so great when you get to see it on iTunes and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw it. I actually held there's this the Spotify thing, and I held my dad's phone, and it would just tick whenever someone listened to it. So it would make a buzz whenever someone listened to it. So you could feel it. It was tick, tick. It was people actually listening to it. So that was also something that was momentum, motivating me. It was whoa, this is so cool.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah. And, when you see a picture of yourself, it's you don't even think it's you. You're just like, oh, man, this is so cool. And then you're like, oh, that's me. But yeah, I mean, I have on my phone, I have my playlists of just a bunch of different artists that I listen to in my headphones all the time. And then I realized that when you are actually behind it, you can see that you're added to people's playlists. So I was on Spotify and I looked on my account and then I could see that I was added, my song was added to people's playlists. I was like, that's just like me. Cause I always am adding random songs to my playlists. Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm on other people's playlists. It's just whoa.
It is. It's I know, suddenly you're part of the magic of music and all that. Yeah. But to me, I think all that just gets better and better. I it's the more you understand it and the more you realize how lucky we are, that we've we've somehow made this interpreted Nick's music into this thing that people really love. Because, but people don't realize it was just a ago, maybe it was less than that we finally got this notice from the Nick Cave people that he really loved it, which in the back of my mind, I'll always love you, and I love the music that we did together. But if Nick Cave didn't like it, it would just be a little bit more of a struggle. You and I would be like, well, we'll keep fighting or whatever.
Yeah, I know that
having him embrace it so much was like, didn't that feel great?
Yeah, I know that we love it, but then he wrote on his on his whole website, like the Red Hand Files or whatever it is, and then also his wife also wrote.
Her too, Susie. Yeah,
she also wrote on it. Yeah. And it was just like, they actually like it. That's also the momentum thing. It's just like, now I feel like you can keep going.
Yeah. It's like, you're so prepared to be like, well, if they don't like it, well, we have to still be tough and say, I understand if you don't like it, but to have him embrace it so much, I think was just such a great, great relief. And we don't know if he'll love all the songs, but he seems like he loved it enough. And if you ask me, I think he'll absolutely love all of it. I mean, you don't sound like him. And this is really showing the power of his songs. It's like a lot of artists, you take them out of the song and the songs aren't that good, but I think you're showing that his songs and his lyrics, you can take him completely out of it and it can be a completely different entity in there. And you see just how beautiful these songs and the lyrics and just the working of it is. And I think he's gonna know that. And I think that's the part is such a triumph,
Yeah, that's sort of like the thing with it, going out and stuff. That's actually I was gonna say it earlier, I think. So with the momentum thing, him liking it, it's also easier. I think that if the whole album went out all by itself straight away and there was no singles first, it would have just been I feel like it would be harder. It would just go out and it'll be like, I don't know if people are going to like it. But now that we've put a couple singles out and we know that they like it, it makes you feel like if you put the album out, they're all going to love it.
Well, we don't really know what is coming up with us. I think the coronavirus seems at the moment like the borders and flying and all that is starting to be, it's getting back to more normal. But I think at this moment right now, especially we have this Thanksgiving holiday in America, and the weather's starting to get colder. This was the time last year where this worst of these surges started to increase. So I think we're very glad that we're going home. We're not going to be traveling in airplanes and hotels and all that around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Our next show isn't until New Year's Eve, and maybe you guys will come to one of those, and we're going to do some.
Isn't it? It's in.
It's outside of Nashville.
Yeah, it's in Nashville, and it's in the Cave.
Well, it's an insane place to play a show. Luckily we were there a couple of years ago and did a night doing a New Year's Eve show there. So we're doing 2 nights there. I think it's the day before New Year's Eve and then New Year's Eve itself. And I know we're going to rehearse in December sometime. So this would be between Nell and I. We'll sort of see if there's a way that you can come down and we can rehearse a couple of songs, then we would definitely do. If our schedules and traveling and all that coronavirus and all those stuff, allowed it to happen, we would maybe do a couple songs on one of the nights in the caverns,
I think that would be awesome. Yeah. I think that if we just keep talking about it, I know that we both want to do some shows together, just need to figure out the statistics of it.
Yeah. And so, and you having more of this, the music is getting ready to come out. Is it coming out on the 26th?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's pretty soon.
It's coming up.
It's the 16th. So
so
10 days.
Yeah. Here we go, So that would be our plan, but there's a lot of things that we don't get to control about all that, so we'll see what happens, but that would be the next chance that we'd get to do something. And then perhaps maybe making, another, video or two if we're set up at our place there, but your videos are great too. The videos that you guys have been making. And so, any of that, we're always just working towards, what can we do to, show the world more about this music and, more about Nick's music and more about your singing.
I think that when the album comes out in like 10 days or whatever, I think that if it gets a decent like amount of attention, I'm getting like sort of like if it has the momentum, I feel like maybe, playing a show or two with you and seeing how that goes would be awesome. Like if we can have a rehearse for a while.
Yeah. And so we'll just have to see what it could be like. Do we, our dilemma is always like, if we play a show as the Flaming Lips, people want to hear Flaming Lips. People want to hear, Flaming Lips music. And if we play something as Nell and the Flaming Lips, do people come thinking, are we going to hear a bunch of Flaming Lips and a little bit of Nell? And I'd be like, no, you're going to hear all Nell, but we're going to be the group. So it's always a little bit of a,
it's just kind of like figuring out how to present it.